You know who else is cooked? The third place team in this group, what I've titled the big boys. It's LAFC, it's Vancouver, it's Tijuana. Talk to me about new players. Talk to me about where they're playing.
LAFC versus Tijuana is going to be at BMO Stadium. LAFC versus Vancouver is going to be at BMO Stadium. Vancouver versus Tijuana is going to be at BC Place. So that is two home games for LAFC, one home game for Vancouver, none for Tijuana. In terms of signings, there are actually a lot of big signings in this window. For LAFC, big signings in this winter transfer window, I've gone for Hugo Lloris coming over from Tottenham, that trophyless tin pot of a club. Maybe he can finally win a trophy with LAFC, but obviously big name. I think I don't want to say for sure if he's done well or not. I'd have to look into our favorite statistic, PSXG plus minus, because that is our holy grail statistic and the only thing that determines if someone is doing well. For Vancouver, a little bit of a tough one. Nobody that's a huge name, but I think in terms of MLS fans, they'll know the name pretty well. I've gone for Fafa Picault. I think he has had a pretty good impact in this team. Damir Kreilach was obviously another good option as well, another very well-known name in this league. And then for Tijuana, I have gone for Alejandro Gomez, who came in the winter. He has played every minute for them so far, the 22-year-old defender. For the big signing in the summer, there's this French striker with some really nice beard coming over from AC Milan.
I'm not French. Sorry.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, my French accent came out there. Olivier Giroud is joining LAFC. I saw an article that said he is projected to join the team August 1st.
Yeah, he
So
won't
if
be
that's
in.
the case, he would miss the group stages, but could potentially join the team in later rounds if they move on. If they get into the knockouts, that will be past the August 1st timeframe. So he could potentially get his start in Leagues Cup. For Tijuana, another household MLS name, Emmanuel Reynoso, is now with Tijuana after all his debacles with Minnesota at the end of his time there. And then Vancouver, no big summer signings so far.
Oh man, there's so many good players to pick here, but let's chat. We'll start with LAFC. MLS Cups, Champions Cup runs, Supporter Shield challenges and wins. LAFC have been one of the strongest sides in MLS over the past few seasons, and future USMNT head coach Steve Cherundolo is currently at the helm for another 4 minutes and 23 seconds before Cindy Cone calls him up and gives him the job.
And then fires him to bring back
And
Greg for a third time.
then bring him up on stage. It's like bring him up on stage, like reach out hand to shake, and then just throw him off and like open a curtain. Greg's there, big smile. What's up, everybody? We're back.
We did a thorough investigation and we found only one man for the job.
Steve Cherundolo, you are not the coach.
You are fired.
But anyways, he's got them at the second place in the West, 2 points behind rivals the Galaxy. They are looking for a bit of a deeper run in Leagues Cup this year after falling 3-2 to Monterrey in the quarterfinals. What a game that was. I remember that one. Talk to me about your player to watch.
I did not pick Denny Bouanga for this one because I
Okay.
felt like even though I've picked easy ones in the last, that felt even too easy. Um, so I'm gonna go for the other guy. His if Denny Bouanga's Batman, this is his Robin this season, and that's Mateusz Bogusz, who has been very, very good for LAFC this year. I think a credit to him is the fact that he just plays in a lot of different positions. I feel like I've seen him at striker. Obviously, I know he can play in the midfield spot. That is where he's listed for MLS Fantasy. So he could obviously play there because MLS Fantasy is always correct. But 17 goal contributions, not including second assists so far, 12 goals scored, 5 assists. Him and Denny have been absolutely carrying the attack. They have 49 goal contributions out of the 73 total goal contributions on the entire team. So they're really both going to need to step up. This team has been very solid defensively, but the attack has gone through Buanga and Bogusz. And so Bogusz is going to have to continue this form if LAFC are going to be making a deep run in this cup.
So I prepped this before that story came out about Olivier Giroud not playing. So I have to change mine, and I am going with David Martinez, the 18-year-old wide player. So, again, hasn't started yet, all sub appearances. At the end of his first little stint, He had a goal, an assist, and then two yellow cards in 7 minutes and got sent off. He then didn't play for 14 weeks or so and has started kind of entering back into the squad a little bit. And I think Leagues Cup would be a really good place to give him some of those minutes, especially if you're playing a team that you might be able to beat up on, or you've secured your place in the league or in the next round or whatever. I think it'd be really nice to see him get a run out, which would be again, as much as we want to say League Cup matters and all that stuff, realistically, like you're focused on the league and winning Supporter Shield and winning MLS Cup, and you need players, especially a team like LA, need some depth. So I'd be interested to see how he translates there, and I hope he gets a little bit of time. Yeah, we'll go there and talk about a team who needs a time erasing machine to forget the absolute masterclass that Luis Robles put on to knock them out of the 2017 or 2018 Champions Cup or Champions League. And that's Tijuana, for those of you who definitely saw where I was going with that, all two of you. They are currently the fifth place team in the Apertura and finished the Clausura in 16th place. Former Red Bull New York boss Juan Carlos Osorio is recently appointed to turn them back around, and they have been better through 3 games. Like I mentioned, they're in 5th place right now, but they too are looking for their first ever Leagues Cup win. Talk to me about who you're watching.
Easy one for me. I'm watching the man that we watched for many years, Manuel Reynoso. Debacle ending in Minnesota, but when he was on his game in Minnesota, he was one of the best number 10s in the entire league. And that's saying something because this league has a lot of really good number 10s, like maybe Hani Mukhtar, if you want to classify him as that. I don't want to dive down that road.
I mean, he's like a second 10. Alex Mouille really runs the show, doesn't he?
All right, sure. Lucho Acosta. So tons of different really good number 10 options, and he was up there as some of the best. So him coming into Tijuana here, going up against MLS sides after his absolute mess of a ending in his time with MLS, could have something to prove here. I'm really interested to see what he's going to bring, on a team outside of Minnesota. Is he going to still be that incredible playmaking midfielder that we saw?
I don't believe you watched more than 1 or 2 games of Emmanuel Reynoso's actual time here, but that's just me.
I've studied a lot of statistics on Emmanuel Reynoso.
Good. That's right. That's why you're here. You're Statman Connor. You're not the actual play style will be damned. You're Statman Connor. I also am watching Emmanuel Reynoso because I actually have watched him play a bunch. And again, one of the best players in the league on his day, but I'm interested to see how he translates to Liga MX with a different team, right? As you mentioned, and I want to see where his mindset is, right? Is he as committed or more so committed than he was in Minnesota? Or is he just taking it like a vacation and he's going to go back to Argentina right as the Leagues Cup kicks off and, just go visit some people and get put on some really sketchy videos online. And yeah, that's what I'm watching. So we'll see how he goes. And how does LAFC and Vancouver, teams who have played him multiple times, how do they defend against him? Right.
So you say the same thing that I said, but you got to question the credibility of what I said.
Oh, yeah. No. Do you think I'm just going to give you a free pass to say things? No, that's not how this works. You know who gets a free pass to say anything they want? Vanny Sartini.
Me after I pick my player to watch for Vancouver.
Lord. Vanny Sartini. Vibes only. He is coaching and I think I mentioned it before where Portland was like the vibes team. No, Vancouver are team vibes. And the vibes pay off, right? Vancouver sitting 4th right now behind the play of some of their best players. After finishing 2nd in the group in last League's Cup, they lost on penalties to Tigres. But one of those penalty shootouts they were in went 19 rounds against Leon. What an absolute wonderful time that was. Maybe not if you were a Vancouver fan or a Leon fan. For us neutrals, we loved it. Talk to me about that player to watch you keep hinting at. I think I know where you're going with it.
I'm going Brian White.
Way!
Your Red Bull reference this episode. Yeah, this is an easy choice for me. I'm going with the guy who has 8 goals in his last 5 games. I mean, the guy is absolutely tearing apart the league right now. He's got Vancouver on 5 games unbeaten. 4 of those 5 are wins. He's tearing it up. I think he continues to form into Leagues Cup, and that's only going to make Vancouver super dangerous because when Brian White is dangerous in front of goal, it takes more pressure off of Ryan Gauld and ultimately just makes the attack for Vancouver all that better. So I think he carries the form, and Vancouver is looking like a strong team into this tournament.
no introduction needed. I've got the same guy, Brian the King. Double-digit goals in 3 of the last 4 years since leaving Red Bull, and I say that as a tear falls down my face as we've gone through like 9 strikers, all of which cannot hit the net. Literally, if you just passed it to them, as we watched on Wednesday, they're going to need a lot to get out of this group, and Ryan Gauld and Brian White will have to do a lot of that work. Let's talk predictions. What do you got?
I'm gonna go with LAFC at 1. I think again the double home game is going to be a benefit, especially in the game against Vancouver. I think that could be the difference maker. At home against Tijuana, I think they can get at least a point out of that, if not two or three. And then at home against Vancouver, I think they could take the win, and that's all they need, I think, to top the group. So I'm going with them at 1. I'm going to go with LAFC at 1. I'm going to go with Vancouver at 2. I think they're also another really strong team in this tournament. I really like the combination of Brian White and Ryan Gauld. And as I mentioned before, Brian White coming in really, really good form. And then I got Tijuana at 3, which is harsh because I don't think Tijuana is a bad team, but I just think they got a tough group with two strong MLS sides.
I also have LAFC at 1, and I'm stuck on 2 and 3 because I think Tijuana and Vancouver are very, very close.
Well, let me make the argument for Vancouver for you. The
You
game
don't need to.
between Vancouver and Tijuana is in Vancouver. That should give them an edge.
Should it?
Yeah.
They have more wins away from home than they do at home.
Does that mean they're bad at home?
I mean, they're average.
Maybe average is all you need.
I'm gonna go Tijuana at 2.
Oh, boo.
Uh,
You suck.
and I'm
Are
gonna
you
go
an MLS podcast or a Liga MX podcast?
I'm gonna go Vancouver at I'm gonna go LAFC at 1. I'm gonna go Tijuana at 2, and I'm gonna go Vancouver at 3. And I think just simply because
Because you're a hater, we know.
I just got a
Fake
feeling, man.
Brian White fan.
I think the vibes go really, really well with the chaos of this sort of game.
You and the vibes.
But I
What are
just
you? Are you a USMNT Twitter account? Like, what are you? What's
USMNT
the you and
vibes, MLS vibes. Oh, I'm starting.
new toxic Twitter account?
I'm starting a new toxic Twitter account, MLS vibes. Oh, that's funny. No, I got a feeling that Vancouver are kind of gonna drop off a little bit. If I look at their last couple of games, they
Yeah,
are
they've been
unbeaten
killing
in
it,
5, right? I know they're unbeaten in 5.
which they've won 4 of those 5.
They've won 4 of those 5, and that's cool. But you have to stop somewhere. And they're gonna. So here's the thing: they're gonna end up losing to. If they lose to Vancouver, right? It's gonna be them versus Tijuana.
They are Vancouver.
Shut up. If they lose to LAFC, they're gonna have to play Tijuana tight, and they're gonna have to beat them at the very. Because we're assuming LAFC wins both, right? Which means that Vancouver versus Tijuana is a winner takes.
But it depends on how they win. If they win in shootout,
They still move
that's
on,
an extra point, which is huge. No,
right?
I'm not saying like I'm not saying LAFC don't move on, but if they play Vancouver and
And Vancouver
Vancouver gets
takes
a
them as a
point out of
tie.
that,
Sure.
then that could change everything with this group.
Last
If
time,
that's sorry, go ahead.
last time they played LAFC, they got smacked 3-0. Different team, sure, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But
They don't need to beat LAFC. They just need to beat Tijuana.
well, that's what I mean. And I think that what's going to happen is Tijuana's going to know it's a must win game. They're going to do Liga MX voodoo and roll around on the ground and cry for everything and take the game to 0-0 PKs, and then they're gonna win on PKs because I don't think Takaoka is great at PKs. That is my standings, and those are my reasons, and you're going to accept them.
I won't accept them, but it is
That's
what it is.